Our study this afternoon is going to be on high blood pressure or hypertension. High blood pressure or hypertension. This is theology of the divine circulation. Theology of the divine circulation, whereby we are going to see what causes disorder in that divine circulation. What causes disorder in the divine circulation, and by that we get, or we have, what we call the high blood pressure or hypertension. Before we go on, it is better to understand simple circulation of, or divine circulations of the universe, so that we can have a glimpse of what we want to know about this disease of high blood pressure. One thing before we go on, what we need to know is that all creation is a heartbeat of God. From the stillness of the divine ABC, there issued a rhythm. You know, what we mean here is that all creation is a heartbeat of God. That means is a center. The heart of God is a big vein, and all what we see in the universe, all what is pulsing in the universe, is a heartbeat, is a beat, is doing so in the heart of God. That means whatever we see or whatever has emanated from God is a heartbeat in that heart of God, which means it is felt in the heart of God. So, from the stillness of the divine ABC, there issued a rhythm. That is, from the stillness of divine ABC. That means where there was nothing yet created, there was a rhythm. A rhythm, it is how God even survived, or how God worked without even what we see with our own eyes. Inhalations and exhalations, expansion and contraction. The first pulse of being. There was inhalations and exhalation, expansion and contraction. So what we are doing now, when we are inhaling or whatever exhaling, is not something new. It has been in God even before what we see was there. So what we see, it is what has already been there, and it was a rhythm in God. And this pulse, or this heartbeat, this pulse, is the law of life. This pulse is the law of life. Meaning, when we say a law, it means that in this rhythm, or the pulses of what happens inside God, they don't just happen. There is a law. There is a law governing everything. Everything works under a law. Everything works under a law. So, nothing exists except by circulation. Nothing exists except by circulation. This circulation of inhaling and exhaling, there is a law. There's a circulation of that in each and everything that we see with our own eyes, and that thing, and those which we don't see. So the stars revolve. The stars revolve, the atoms spin, the blood flows, and the spirit moves as wind through every form. You can see there is nothing which is static in this world. If you look at the planet, they are revolving around the sun. If you look at the wind, it is moving. There is circulation of everything. There is a flow. If you go to the rivers, they are flowing to the ocean. Some are coming out of the ocean. You can see there is a flow of everything. They are not there by chance. They are there by law. There's a law, that's the law of life. A circulation from one point to another. So the cosmos is the universe. Itself is a great artery of divine motion. God's will in the style of it, the going forth of creative fire. God's wisdom is the diastole that's returned into peace. Those are terms we used in cosmic theology. When these two are balanced, creation rests in perfect health. When they fall into discord, the world suffers pressure. So when you say diastole, those are terms you don't need to think more about them. Cytol, those are terms used in cosmology. It is when something is high, then it goes down, high, it goes down. There is that motion in all over the universe. So, the cosmos is a great artery, an artery of divine motion, moving. When these two are balanced, when these diastoles and stole are balanced, everything is okay. Everything is in order. Wakati siko sawa. When they fall into discord, when they are not in line, the world suffers pressure. Hapo ndio pressure inaingilia. Wakati there is, yani mmoja, they are not balancing. Things are not balancing. Hapo ndio pressure, the world suffers pressure. Not a person now here. The world suffers pressure. And you know, saa zingine kuna upepo mwingi, kuna storms, kuna whatever you see, there is imbalance somewhere which has occurred. We are now talking of the cosmos first, so that you can understand what blood pressure is. So within each creature, hiyo ni the universe, now tulikuwa tunaongea. Within each creature, the same circulation repeats. The heart of man is a local manifestations. The heart of man is a local manifestation of the internal powers that animate the universe as above, so within. Kwa hivyo nikumaanisha, what happened outside, what we see, there's diastole and stole, and then we have worldly pressure with the storms and whatever. When we come to the man, the same thing happened within. The same thing, kama vile tunaona dunia iko. The same thing happened to within. So the heart of man is a local manifestation of internal powers that animate the universe as above, so within. So high blood pressure, therefore, is not an isolated malady. It is a cosmic allegory, the tension of the divine fire meeting the resistance of fall. You see, I want you to understand it here, because we are now coming to the same thing. We have said there is God and there is man. In nature, we have said there is style and diastole. When they are not in harmony, then we have the world pressure. Iko hivyo. When you come to God, there is God, then man. We want to see, first of all, what is pressure, high blood pressure, in a cosmology theory. theology. High blood pressure, therefore, is not an isolated malady. It's a cosmic allegory. The tension of divine fire meeting the resistance of form. Here, we have the divine fire flowing to the man. And man is the form. This divine fire is supposed to operate this man without resistance, because man has come from God. Man is an image of God. Man is a form of God. Which means God would like to flow to man without resistance. Mungu anataka apitie kwako, wewe ufanye vile anataka without resistance. Kwa sababu wewe umetoka kwa nani? Kwa Mungu. Kwa Mungu. But what happened? The tension here is the tension of divine fire meeting the resistance of form. Sorry, high blood pressure, therefore, is not an isolated malady. It is a cosmic allegory. The tension of divine fire meeting resistance of form. Which means, because we cannot go as God wills, because we cannot act in tandem with God's will, there is a resistance of God. We resist God. When we say we resist God, it means now that not only morally, but throughout our makeup, because all the flow of what is flowing in ourselves is supposed to mimic God, because God, everything of us comes from God and is a replica of God. But because of our nature has fallen, we are always resisting God. There's a resistance of that God. So the infinite seeks to flow through the finite. Mungu wanga anataka kuflow kwetu. He want to flow kupitia mwili yetu. But the finite clings to its limitation. But the infinite naye ina cling to its limitations. Kuna vile wewe mwenyewe, you cannot allow it. You cannot allow God to. You have got your own limitation. You want to do this, but God wants you to do this. So you have your own limitations. Vile unataka kufanya. Mungu akitaka yani mwili yako ikae namna hii, lakini wewe kuna ile limitation zako unaweka. So the infinite seeks to flow through the finite, but the finite cling to its limitation, and so the vessel strains. Because here Mungu anataka the infinite want to flow through you, but wewe unataka kufanya mambo zako, because unasema mwili ni yangu, na ni kweli mwili ni yako. Kwa hivyo kuna yale mambo wewe unataka kufanya, and because ya mambo hayapelekani na vile Mungu anataka, there is what we call this, there is straining. We strain, there is straining. Sawa? As if the universe itself were pressing upon the human frame. Nikana kwamba wewe kuna kitu which is pressing you that you don't see. Hiyo straining kumaanisha there is a force which is working, which is against what you are doing. Na that force, because it is not in line with God, is straining. Ndio wanga inazaa pressure. In this way, the body becomes a theoretical text. It's very simple term, hieroglyphic of metaphysical truth. Yani kumaanisha mwili unakaa kabisa vile inafanya hata kana kwamba hauelewi. Yani your body and God there is a resistance ambayo wewe hauoni, but there is something going on. There is a straining going on. Na yote imetokana because we cannot flow, God cannot flow through us as he intended. Kuna shida kwa sababu sisi tunavuta pande yetu na yeye anataka anavuta pande yake. So when the first creature turned its will from the divine circulation, the cosmic heart suffered its first constriction. Wakati binadamu tu alianguka, hapo ndio shida ilianzia. Desire became self-centered. The current of love turned backward upon themselves. So this was born a cosmic hypertension, the resistance of form to spirit, the rebellion of motion against its source. Kwa hivyo nikumaanisha, by nature we have a rebellion. Hata kana kwamba huna pressure saa hii, ujue kabisa kuna force ambaye ina resist that flow of God in us, kwa sababu tulianguka, kwa sababu of the fall of man. Sawa. So when our soul, because sasa ni sisi, we withdraw from divine trust. Because to draw with divine trust kumaanisha tumekataa kuallow the flow of God and turns its will inward. So the current of life no longer flows freely. When you turn our soul inward, it is to turn our soul to self. We do what we want with our body. We act without considering why we are acting. Tunakula without considering why we are eating. So the fire of the divine essence, once radiant and tranquil, becomes compressed in the finite vessel, seeking release through rebellion of blood. So the fire of divine essence, because this fire, because God, the fire, that means, how I can put it, though we have fallen, hata kana kwamba tumeanguka, there is that fire which ignites us and make us move our motion. That's why, and that fire is which, when we were born, it is started, and that fire has been going on, and there's nothing which can stop that fire. And that fire can only stop wakati mtu amekufa. Ndio unaona mtu amekufa, watu wanaenda kuangalia kama amekuwa nini? Amekuwa baridi. Ni kwa sababu hiyo fire imefanya nini? Imepoa. So that fire ambaye ina communicate from God to the man, that fire, it is ever flowing. So wakati that fire imeingia kwako na ikatae kuwa na outlet kulingana na vile Mungu alikuwa anataka ifanye, sasa hiyo fire ndio inakuwa shida kwetu. The same fire now becomes a problem. Manake sasa imefungiwa. So it is wanga inataka release, seeking release through the rebellion of the blood. Sasa inataka release. Lakini sasa hii release now, it is going to be the rebellion of blood. Manake that fire is in the blood. Ama mjui damu ndio inakuaga inabeba hiyo moto kwa mwili. Tunasikiaga kwa nini mtu anasikiaga baridi miguu na sio nini, unakuta mtu ana nini? Kwa sababu kitabu damu ipigwe itoke kwa mwili kwa the heart ifike kwa mguu, inakuaga inateki muda na inapoa. Kati tunakutanga mtu sana anasikiaga baridi sana kwa miguu kuliko pale nyingine yote, because blood kutoka kwa heart kwenda kwa mguu ikifika pale inakuwa already imepoa. Manake blood ndio waga inabeba that fire. Tuko pamoja pale? No, tunaenda tu ndio muone, tunataka kuona kwanza nini na cause blood pressure. So this fire is carried by the blood. So this constriction manifests a high blood pressure, not only a physical phenomenon, but a symbol of spiritual resistance. Meaning, when we have this blood passing through the vessels, wakati zinapita through the vessels ya mwili, na hii damu ndio inapita pale. Wakati hii damu inakataa kutembea vile inatakikana kwa sababu of the straining of the flow of blood in our whatever, in our body, na hii straining inaweza kuleta na mambo mingi sana, even constriction of the capillaries ambaye zinabeba this blood. Sasa this fire in the blood ndio wakati inataka ku exert itself, ndio ifanye kazi yake vile inatakikana, kwa sababu imekuwa restricted, high blood pressure inatokezea. Unakuta sasa uko na pressure of blood, high blood pressure. Ni kumaanisha even circulation ya blood, your blood in your body iko na shida. And this one can be brought by many things. Either your body makeup, setup of your body, even that flow, vile ina flow spiritually and your body. So there is a combination of many things which can make somebody develop high blood pressure. Mambo mingi sana ambaye inaweza combine, like as we are going to see. So what bring these constrictions so that a high blood pressure can be formed in our system? One, the creature resists the infinite flow of love by clutching its own form. The creature resists the infinite flow of love, by clutching its own form. It builds walls within the vessels of the blood. So hapo ni ukweli, ni kumaanisha the creature yenyewe it wants to do its own things. Yani useme the fall itself in the first place inachangia hata kana kwamba mimi sina pressure ama mwingine ana pressure, lakini it means in one way or another, no matter how low your pressure is ama whatever, ama economo, there is that that tendency, there is a war, there is a straining bado inaendelea katika mwili yako. Sawa? Every act of fear tightens the arteries. Every act of fear, wakati unaona unakaa na fear, every act of fear tightens the arteries. You might not know how. Some things you don't understand how. But utaona constantly sisi wanga we are controlled by fear. So long as uko katika huu mwili, one thing, we don't trust God. So wakati umepungukiwa, always there is fear. Uko na uoga. Hata kana kwamba uambii watu, there is a fear in you. Na kuna wakati mtu anakuanga, ukijaribu kufikiria in your life, there is a fear that you don't know what you are fearing. That fear is in each and every person. Ukiuliza mtu yote, kuna fear, hata tajiri, there is a fear ambayo wanga ina build in somebody. Mtu ukiwa labda unalea watoto, ukiwa uko na shida fulani, ukiwa na biashara fulani, mara unaanza kufikiria kitu ikatokezea, uko na loan, hii mambo yani kienda hivi. So there is fear always in man. Because since man fell from God, he has never been free. Asikia kabisa ako sawa, anakuanga na uoga wakati wowote. Hata ukiona mtu wako tauni anaenda nini na kona kibeti, utaona anaangalia kibeti yake namna hii, bado wako na nini? Bado wako na uoga. Na ni tauni tu anaenda raha zake, lakini there is fear. Mtu akichelewa pahali, so fear is the one which tightens the arteries zako. Waga ina tighten the arteries. Every secret resentment hardens the heart. Wakati unakuwa resented, ni wakati unakuta kabisa you are depressed. Depression, yani you are depressed because of something. There is that thing in you that wanga saa zingine unakuta you are unhappy. Wewe listen to yourself. Ukute kuna wakati unakutaga wewe hauna raha. Paka unakaa saa zingine unajiuliza nini inanifanya niwe kabisa sisikii raha. Unaanza hata kujikwaza kukumbuka ni vitu gani. Unaweza kuta kuna kitu ulikuwa unaogopa pale, no, ni hii. Kumbe hii kitu kabisa haijaenda. So wewe ujaribu kufikiria, kuna vitu inakuweka, it puts you at the toe. Na hata unakuta saa zingine hata unaona watu wako, lakini wewe kuna kitu inakusumbua na hata hauelewi. Haya, saa zingine unaweza kuwa na raha. Unasikia uko na raha, lakini uelewi ni nini inafanya uwe na hiyo expectation. Those things they are there. Ukisikiza vizuri utasikia. Those things, hiyo secret things ambayo huanga inakuweka uko na uoga, ni kana kwamba kuna whatever, yani kuna mambo ambaye inakudepress, una raha. Those are things they harden the heart. So to harden the heart ni kusema your heart is not going to be beating normal wakati ina harden, wakati inaenda ikiwa ngumu, ni kumaanisha it is not soft. Haya, another thing ambayo ina contribute, every unconfessed desire. Every unconfessed desire bites the current of spirit. You have a desire. Unajua man is a desire. The nature of man ni kudesire, ni kutaka. Kuna vitu unataka. Kuna vitu kabisa una-admire, but you don't talk about them. You just admire them, but you don't talk about them. Lakini vitu wanga unaona, the unconfessed desire bites the current of spirit. So the current, those desire, they bind the current of the spirit. Meaning, the spirit of God cannot flow freely. The spirit cannot go freely in your body. You know there is what we call body spirits. Leave alone the spirit of God, but let us come to the body spirit. Because man, our body is comprised of body spirits ambaye zina connect. Sasa wakati uko na desire ambaye they are unconfessed, na kila mtu wako nazo, kwa sababu kuna mambo mengi sana watu waga wana desire lakini wapati, hiyo bado ina restrict the flow of those spirit in your body. So the pressure rises not against the flesh alone, but against the law of divine circulation. Nasikia? The pressure rises not against the flesh alone. Si ati pressure hii ina affect mwili peke yake. It is also against the divine circulation. When you say divine circulation, kumaanisha, yani the divine cannot circulate freely in you. That inner man, that spiritual body, hata hiyo inakuwa bado it cannot, yani the divine circulation kumaanisha that spirit of God cannot flow freely to that inner man, ambaye is that man ambaye ni wandani. There is no circulation still. So in man there are two fire ambaye sasa ndio labda tuelewe kidogo. The fire of wrath. The fire of wrath ni the contracted divine energy turned toward the self. It burns without illumination. Hiyo ni the fire of wrath. Hiyo ni ile fire inatokana na wewe, mafikira yako, wewe vile ungetaka. That is what we call the fire of wrath. Now there is the fire of love. The same energy opened unto God. Kuna that fire ambayo inatokana na Mungu. So this fire inategemea ni gani itashida. Those two fires, they are there in you, working. They are there working. So, disease is divine power misdirected. You see, there is that divine power. When disease is going to come to our body, it is that divine fire misdirected. Unakuta, it is not working the way it's supposed to work. So to heal is to oppress the fire but liberate it into its true form. To heal ni kuliberate that fire into its true form. So pressure wakati inaingia kwa sababu ya these two fire wakati zinafanya kazi ndani ya mtu. Wacha nionyeshe kitu kingine kidogo ndio labda tuelewe. So let us see the dialogue and so that we can understand how these things work and how pressure come in. Here we are going to look at the soul and the spirit. Manake they are the one which if they don't work together, we are going to develop the pressure. Here we have the soul. Sasa the soul hapa ni binadamu. Anauliza because ndio uone vile pressure inakuja. My heart beat as if against a wall. The blood rises like a tide that will not rest. That's when unaenda unapimwa na daktari unakuta hata pressure yako iko juu sana. My heart beats as if against a wall. The blood rises like a tide that will not rest. What is this in a storm that drive my pulse beyond measure? Nini hii inafanya damu iwe juu sana? Is it mere flesh that trembles or something deeper? Ni mwili huu unafanya a hidden rebellion of the spirit within its vessel? Ama ni nini hii inafanya? Sasa ni mtu anauliza, nini inaweza kuwa inafanya hii damu unakuta iko juu, niko na vita mpaka hata it want to break the wall. It's against the wall. Ni kusema it can even break the wall. That is the capillaries. Naye the Spirit of God anamwambia, thou perceivest rightly also. Unaona vizuri, ukweli kabisa unaiona vizuri. The blood is not only red water, but the fire of life made visible. You see, the blood is not only red water. Nataka kumwambia sisi tunafikiria damu ni tu hii damu the red water, but the fire of life made visible. Kwa hivyo damu is the fire of life made visible. Hiyo ndio damu, the fire of life made visible, because the fire of life inapita kwa damu. Is a fire of life made visible. So when it rages, anasema when it rages, it speaks of a tension not of nature alone, but of the will resisting the divine flow. Unasikia vile nasema? But nataka usikie, thou perceivest rightly also. Manake ameuliza ni nini hii nasikia kwa mwili yangu inaenda juu na chini. Anambia unasikia vizuri, lakini anamwambia the blood is not only the red water, but the fire of life made visible. When it rage, wakati unasikia inaleta shida, it speaks of attention not of nature alone. Kwa hivyo wakati unakuta iko juu, inafundisha attention sio ya mwili peke yake. Hiyo tension unasikia ufikiria ati inatokana na mwili peke yake, but of the will, your will. Sasa ni will yako resisting the divine flow. Wewe ndiye will yako inakataa the divine flow kwako, which means kuna kitu wewe ndio hii pressure ipande. Kuna kitu inafanyika ndani yako, una resist nani? Mungu. Sijui kama tunaona pale, una resist nani? Mungu. Unajua ukiambia binadamu hivyo atasema sasa na resist Mungu namna gani na mimi naenda no, una resist Mungu kwa sababu hapa nimewaambia the secret here is the divine had created a man so that the infinite should flow through the finite freely vile alikuwa anataka, But wakati tulianguka pakawa na mismatch. So the divine fire ikawa is misdirected by our desire. Na vile sisi tunataka kufanya na mambo yetu. Meaning, sasa kukawa kuna shida. Sasa anamwambia hii shida ya blood pressure ambayo unasikia sio mwili peke yake, vile unasikia ati mwili inapimwa na daktari unakutikana damu iko juu. Hapana. There is another thing. There is a will. There is a will in you which is against the divine will. Kwa hivyo mambo ni mangapi? Ni mawili. Unaelewana? Naye anauliza, the man anauliza, then this pressure, is it punishment or revelation? Hii pressure basi inanifundisha nini? Kwa sababu niko naye na nimeipata. Is it punishment or revelation? Ama inanifundisha nini? Naye the Spirit of God amwambia, it is revelation. For within every pulse of excess lies the sign of the ungoverned fire. You see, for within every pulse of excess lies the sign of ungoverned fire. That means, wakati unaenda kupimwa blood pressure unakuta iko juu kuliko normal, ujue hii yote iko juu, that is ungoverned fire. Ni moto ambaye umekosa control. Ni moto ambaye umekosa control, because unaona blood is a fire of life. Sasa kana kwamba imezidi, yani inapimwa, inaonekana iko juu, ujue it is a sign of ungoverned fire. The divine energy meant to move as radiance. It is a divine energy ambayo ilikuwa inatakiwa ifanye kazi mzuri. If it was controlled by God, ilikuwa inatakiwa ifanye kazi mzuri iwe, yani, because it is God who is controlling that energy, that fire ama energy, yes. Yeye na control. Sasa umekuta it is not governed by God. Imekuwa mismatch. So the divine energy means to move as a radiance becomes compressed when the soul fears to surrender. Nasikia? The divine energy meant to move as radiance become compressed when the soul fears to surrender. To surrender to who? To God. Sasa hapa kuna shida. Na ndio nimwambia hii mambo sijui watu watakuja kuelewa namna gani. Wewe you have your will. And that will of yours, tumeona ni nini inaleta mambo haya. Tumeona kuna fear, kuna depression, kuna mambo mengi, kuna desire, zinafanya arteries shrink. Haya mambo yote yanatokea kwa sababu gani? Because from the word go, man doesn't trust God. Hii fear inakuja kwa sababu they don't want to trust God. Hii mambo ya mafikiria mengi, hii desire ambaye ni unconfessed desire ya mambo ya dunia hauongei, lakini ziko. Mpaka inafanya restriction of the heart. Na wewe haujui. So, hii fire from God lazima ikuje, because it is flowing through the blood, and you have the blood. This energy of God is supposed to come and work with you, and through you, this fire is supposed to manifest as radiance of God. Mungu aonekane kwako. Lakini sasa unakuta sasa it is not that way. Uko na restriction nyingi sana. Sasa wakati unaenda unapimwa unakuta pressure iko juu, hiyo excess energy ni kumaanisha God had kuna kitu alikuwa anataka ufanye, ama there was a movement ambayo ilikuwa inatakikana, lakini it was restricted. Kwa hivyo hiyo sasa ndio itakuwa pressure, ndio itaform high blood pressure. So the divine energy meant to move the radiance became compressed when the soul fear to surrender. Fear is contraction. Nasikia, fear is contraction. Contraction breeds heat. And heat confined becomes torment. Thus the vessel cry out. Hapo ndio sasa unasikia blood pressure. The vessel cry out. Sasa wewe ndio unakuta wewe uko na nini, mimi niko damu yangu iko juu. Because fear is contraction. Because we are full of, nimwambia, fear is the only thing that can rule a man. Fear is the only thing that can rule a man. And we are full of fear. Hata wewe ambaye haujui uko na fear, we are full of fear. Hata mimi nimesimama hapa. Fear, it is ever there with the man. Because we don't trust God. We trust on our arm. We are fearing of tomorrow. What's going to happen tomorrow? What about if these things happen? What about hii kitu ikifanyika? Hiyo mambo yote unakuta uko naye. Sasa hiyo kitu inakufinyilia, na hiyo inafanya kitu inaitwa contraction of your arteries, of your heart. Wewe without knowing. This contraction, wakati imecontract, you breathe heat. Heat inaongezeka katika mwili. And heat confined become torment. Thus the vessel cry out. Naye mtu anauliza, and what confine this fire? Nini waka ina confine hii moto? Nini hii waka ina confine this water? Yani hii moto. Naye the Spirit of God anamwambia, the walls of self will. Kwa nini hii moto inakuwa confined in you, inakosa kufanya kazi, inakosa kuradiate vile inatakikana, ndio ifanye kazi ya Mungu, manaka imetoka kwa Mungu na ni ya Mungu. Nini imefanya confine this fire? The walls of self will. Self will ni kumaanisha we are moved after the fall, we move in accordance with self. Self will ndio inafanya hii mambo yote ifanyike. Each anxious thought is a fortress against the infinite. Anxiety, anxious thought. We are anxious. We want to be this. We want to have this. Tuna shida ya chakula. We are anxious of what is going to happen. We are anxious. We are restless. Tunafikiria hii. So anxious, each anxious thought is faultless against the infinite. This anxiety is against infinite. We are worried, ama tunafikiria sana, ama we are anxious of things because we don't recognize God. Hiyo ndio inafanya hivyo. Each unspoken grief is a seal upon the heart. Grief. Each unspoken grief. Ukienda sasa utakuta watu, people are grieved with many things. Watu wako na mahasira. Mtu ametendewa hii, hata haongei, unaona anaenda tu amekasirika. Ukienda kwa barabara unaweza kukuta mtu unaona anapiga mdomo peke yake. Unashindwa sasa huyu nani amemkosea, lakini kuna kitu umemkosea na ako peke yake. So each unspoken grief is a seal upon the heart. Those are the things that wanga kabisa zinachangia. So the blood obedient to the soul beats against its own prison. Nasikia? So the blood obedient to the soul beats against its own prison. You want to imprison this blood, and this blood is fire, so it beats against its prison. Hapo ndio blood pressure inakuwa, because inaanza kupiga blood pressure yani inaanza kugonga sasa, na ukicheza sasa inagonga. Utakuja kuona wakati tuta study the stroke, utakuja kuona how hata mtu anapata stroke ama heart failure. So the soul now listen. I see the same in creation. Nation swelling in wrath, ocean rising in pressure, humanity straining under its own desires. Is a world too suffering the same element? Sasa sema nimeangalia hata nimeona hata dunia iko namna. Ni kweli hii dunia, oceans unaona zinapiga maji. Hivyo unaona upepo inakuja. Naye the Spirit of God anamwambia, indeed the world is a macrocosm of the heart. As a human vessel receives the divine flow, so does the world resist its own sanctity. Hata dunia ni hivyo. High pressure is the image of cosmic fever, the divine longing unexpressed, pressing to be born. Hata ya mambo yote tunaona ambaye tunaona hayendi vizuri, inachangiwa bado, it is a replica, it is an image of what happens. What happens outside tusione kana kwamba is not happening to us. Kuna wakati unaona mvua imenyesha mpaka the rivers zinafanya nini? Zina flood. The same way, wakati hii moto imekuwa nyingi sana, ina burst na ina flood in ourselves. Nakuta mtu kamshiba kame burst. It's the same thing. Tusiona kama adiko tofauti. So naye anauliza, the man anauliza, tell me, spirit, how may I heal this fire without quenching it? How may I turn wrath to warmth and pressure to peace? Spirit, anamwambia, through 3 remedies. The remedy of heaven, spirit, breathe as the universe breathes. Inhale, exhale, resistance. Let prayer be not words, but rhythm. So here, some of these things, when we come to Christianity, we don't know them. But when you go to Eastern, they know these things. They call them yoga. How to you breathe in and out. Sometimes and even when you are seated, counting. Even how you can even close one nose. You breathe, you count sometimes, then you breathe out. So those are some of the remedies ambazo zinasaidia saa zingine kufungua. Those are mechanical things. Those are for the external. I'm talking of external. Kuna vile watu wengine wanga wanafanya hizo vitu na zinasaidia sana. But when you come to the Western, we don't know them. Inhale light, exhale resistance. And it works because when we are doing them, there are some mantras which they talk about. Wao wakifanya kuna vile wanaongea na hizo vitu zinawasaidia. Mimi that one I cannot guarantee nikwambie inafanya hivi. The remedy of the soul, loosen the knots of resentment, forgive until the heart beats freely. Hiyo sasa ni kujua ukweli. Speak truth in gentleness, for silence too long held becomes poison. Speak the truth, hiyo ni another remedy of the soul. The remedy of the nature of the body, let herbs and foods of peace accompany thee. We are going to see those foods that we are supposed to use when you have this problem of high blood pressure. There are many that we are going to see them one by one. So, I understand now the cure is not to steal the fire, but to transmute it. Yet, how shall I accomplish this inward work? How can I? Here he is giving you. Now, these are just remedies ambaye zinaweza kukusaidia wakati umekuwa na attack ya pressure. There is the art in essence and simple. One, when anger arises, because hiyo inatusubuanga sana, unakuta umekasirika, na tumeona those are the things that wanga zinachangia sana pressure. When anger arises, breathe and bless. You breathe and then you bless. Yani huyo mtu, you bless. So, just that. The art of the ancients and simple, and they worked with those people. When fear tightens, wakati umesikia yani umekuwa na uoga, fear tightens. The heart, when the fear tightens the heart, surrender and trust. You surrender and trust. Huko na uoga, you don't know why. Unaogopa, mpaka unakuta saa zingine hata unakosa peace. What do you do? You just surrender unto God and trust. Just simple. Trust. Surrender and trust. Just simple. Because hata ukikasirika, hata ukifikiria mwaka moja, hata ukifikiria itakuwa namna gani, there is nothing you can change. Because if fear wanga inatokezea tu, unaweza kuta mtu anaogopa tu hata fear ya next year. Si ni kweli? Hata next year unaanza kujiuliza, sasa hii next year, hii mwaka hii nimelipa school fees. Hii mwaka ingine sasa itakuwaje? Unaanza fear of next year. Hata miaka ingine 3 unaanza kufia. Hiyo ndio shida. Sasa hapa tunaambiwa the only remedy kwa hiyo, it is just to surrender and trust. Surrender unto God and trust God. That yeye ambaye amekupatia ya mwaka hii na amekufanyia vile amekufanyia leo, hata hiyo Mungu unajua. So when anxiety constricts, anxiety ni wakati unakuta kuna mambo unataka ifanyike lakini haifanyiki. That is anxiety. Return to the center where God breathes. Return to the center where God breathes. Yani kumaanisha go back to the source. Wakati unakuta nini wewe tu, yani ujue return to the source and let God breathe. Not you. Let God breathe in you as he used to breathe. Then hiyo anxiety itaisha. So now I see this element was a teacher. It pressed upon me so that I might feel the infinite within the finite. You see, it pressed upon me so that I might feel the infinite within the finite. The storm in my blood was the cry of love denied. So you can imagine that this pressure ambayo unaona blood pressure inakuja is the infinite. Ndio amekasirika. Ndio ana act. Anataka mfanya nini? Umtabue. This one can only be seen by the yani niangalie sana ndio ione vile nataka kusema. Sasa hapa tuangalie na macho ya udaktari. Maana ukienda kwa daktari sasa hapa hawezi kuelewa vile hapa inasema. Tunaangalia with a mystical eye that it is God himself reminding you that he's the one who is supposed to be in control, not you. Ndio hiyo pressure ni yeye. Ndio anasikia it pressed upon me so that I might feel the infinite within the finite. Yeye ndiye amepress. Kwa sababu wewe umekataa kumsikiza, sasa na kupress anapitia kwa hiyo njia ndio umtabue ndani yako. The storm in my blood was the cry of the denied. That storm is a cry of the denied. Si ati inakuja tu. Is a cry of the denied. Spirit, nasema, thou hast spoken the truth. The pressure that once threatened thee is now transfigured into the beat of divine remembrance. When thou art at peace, thy heart becomes the throne of the eternal fire. Kwa hivyo, the pressure that once threatened thee is now transfigured. Sasa wakati umejua na umeanza kukuishi katika ukweli na umeanza kuelewa, sasa that pressure is now transfigured. Kumaanisha it is transfigured into the beat of divine remembrance. Sasa imekuwa a beat of divine remembrance. Ni kumaanisha sasa imeisha. When thou art at peace. Sasa umeelewa. Remember always. Sasa namwambia. Remember always. What you call disease is a shadow of divinity and unacknowledged. Hiyo nitakuja kuwafundisha ndio muone, yani hiyo kweli Mungu kuielewa saa zingine we need to pray. What you call disease is a shadow of divinity unacknowledged. Yeah. Ugonjwa ni Mungu ambaye amekataliwa, ndio amekuwa nini? Ugonjwa kwako. So wakati mtu anaenda naomba anasema sasa sijui kwa nini Mungu umeletea ugonjwa hii, sijui nini, you are not praying. Hauombi kwa sababu hii ugonjwa ni yeye amekataliwa, sasa ametokezea kama nini? Kama ugonjwa. Ndio ufanye nini? Umtabue. Sasa so remember always, what we call disease is a shadow of divinity and acknowledge. And what we call cure is nothing else than the soul's consent to be what it internally is, a vessel of the living flow. What you call cure, hakuna kitu ingine. And I repeat, what you call disease is the shadow of divinity unacknowledged. And what you call cure is nothing else than the soul's consent to be what it actually is. The soul consent, yani wewe uwe vile unatakiwa kuwa mbele ya nani? Ya Mwenyezi Mungu. A vessel of the living flow. Uwe a vessel of the living flow. Ni kumaanisha Mungu awe anatembea kwako freely, without resistance. Your will and the will of God sio ndafanya nini? Zimeshikana. Lakini ugonjwa ikija pale ujue Mungu ndio unamkataa, anatokezea kama ugonjwa. Sio shetani. Unajua watu wengine wasifikiri ni shetani. Hapana. Ni hiyo ugonjwa ni wewe ndio umefanya ikujie. So in order to help the healing of high blood pressure, there are herbs, those which we are supposed to take in prayer and thanksgiving, so that they can harmonize with our will, they can harmonize our will and the will of God. And by doing so, the pressure is gone. Which are these herbs? All herbs are fragments of this cosmic body. All herbs. These are cosmic body. Each bearing a stellar virtue, a signature of the divine remedy. Kwa hivyo, it's not just a herb. It contains a stellar virtue, a signature of the divine remedy. Iko na signature, the divine remedy, because God knows hii inaweza kuheal hii na hii. Sawa? So, which are these? Number one, which is very vital in treating high blood pressure. The first one is garlic. Garlic. Huh? Garlic. Garlic is like this. It is a garlic. We have it always in our kitchen. Garlic. Garlic. Garlic is of Mars. It comes from Mars and tempered by Jupiter. Is tempered by Jupiter. Those are things that we cannot understand. And it releases trapped fire. We're gonna toa the trapped fire in a release. You know, when we say is of mass. When you start the universe, you'll find that each plant comes from either Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, and there are different reasons why they are born of those planets. So when you say garlic is of Mars, but tempered by Jupiter, those who study cosmology, they know. When you come to the second one is Hawthorne. Inaitwa Hawthorne plant, herb. Hawthorne. Hawthorn. This plant is of Venus. It comes from Venus in the sun. It restores the radiant heart. It restores the radiant heart. Ina restore the radiant. Kumaanisha inasaidia yani your radiation. The radiant heart kumaanisha roho ambaye ina radiate good things. The third one is basil. The same basil. This one is of Mercury and Moon. This one reconciles thought and blood. Basil reconciles thoughts and blood. Remember, this one is basil, not holy basil. There's holy basil and basil. Yeah, you should know that. The third one, or the fourth one, is hibiscus. Hibiscus, you know that red, people are using it very much nowadays. Hibiscus, this is of Venus and water. There's a reason why it is of Venus and water. It cools the excess flame. Because tumeona high blood pressure ni excess fire. Ina cool the excess flame. The fifth one is ginger. This is of Mars, redeemed, and what it does, it awakens circulation with gentleness. It awakens circulations with gentleness. The sixth one is cinnamon. Cinnamon is of solar harmony. Ni ya jua, inatokana na jua. This cinnamon joins all elements into sweetness. So, when man take this with gratitude, he communes with the stars from which they descend. Nasikia? Thus, the humble act becomes a liturgy. The human body and the cosmos exchanging prayers. So, nasikia? So, when man takes this with gratitude, he communes with the star from which they descend. Kwa hivyo wakati unachukua hiyo kitu unakula and you thank God, you are communing with the stars from which they descend. And these stars, they commune with who? With God? With God. So together you are praising God. It's a cycle, it's a circulation. Kwa hivyo sio kitu atufikirie ni hivyo ati. Lazima tuiangalie kwa macho ingine. So, high blood pressure then is the cosmos knocking upon the temple door, saying, let me flow again through thee without resistance. To heal is to reopen the chariot, to allow the fire of God to circulate as peace. Yeah, to heal is to allow the fire of God to saturate our spirit. When this is accomplished, the individual heart beat in resonance with the solar heart. The solar heart with the galactic with the infinite, and man becomes once more a living pulse of God within creation. So, some of these things I said, I'm just teaching them as sermons so that you can know them. But for those who will be interested with this healing, some of these pamphlets is just to get them. You have them so that you can read them as often as you want, without being controlled. Because there's something when I'm teaching that I jump here and there. Wanga siangalii yani si nini yote. Kuna yale wanga nafundisha, lakini when you go and look at them, utaona kuna mambo mingi sana ambaye nimeruka, ambaye inaweza kuwa important. There's a type where when a man asks, then even the herb I take are a part of, eternal birth, eternal breath, by remembrance. So, then what is the cure? How may I loosen what the ages have bound? How will I loosen what the ages have bound? Because the ages kumaanisha kuna mambo mengi ambayo yameendelea katika wewe ambayo sasa unashindwa, how are you going to loosen them again? Because umekaa mpaka ndio hii ugonjwa ikuja, how am I going to loosen? Eternal breath tells him, by remembrance. Remember that you are the circulation of God. Breathe consciously as galaxies revolve, expanding, receiving, releasing, and returning. Breathe consciously. Let forgiveness be your respiration. Let compassion be your exhalation. Thus, the divine fire moves again, and both body and cosmos are east. Sasa unaona, anakwambia ufanye na mwili, breathe consciously, yani hiyo breathing exercises. Sometimes I'll give you how the Eastern does it. But now, anakuja nakwambia, let forgiveness be your respiration. Forgiveness. Amekurudisha kwa yale mambo waga inakuleta nini. Let compassion be your exhalation. You see, the voice of the earth. As thou healest, I too am healed. The earth inasema, and as thou healest, I too am healed. Each of thy heartbeat restore one tremor of my crust. Each of thy peaceful breath still storm in my sea. So nikumaanisha, hata sisi wakati tunapona, hata the earth, bado sisi ndio tunafanya hata hii mashida itokezea ile tunaona hapa nje. Man ndiye na create. Hata storms, utakuja kuona they start with man. Ni vile mtu ajui. Hata hii mambo ya drought, whatever it is, yani ignited by man. Ni vile yeye sahi hawezi kuelewa. Anauliza, then even the herbs I take are a part of this cosmic remedy. Yes, child of dust and starfire. For every plant is crystallization. Every plant is crystallized ray of a celestial virtue. Crystallized kumaanisha wewe wakati unaona tu herb, but it is a ray, ni mwangaza wa celestial virtue, ni kumaanisha imetoka kwa Mungu. Mungu wako hapo. It is not just the way you see it. You see? So nimewambia juu ya nini, ya plants. So hapa tunaambiwa flow and be flowed through. You flow and be flowed through. Give and be given unto. Move and be moved. Every river, every vein, every star obey this rhythm. Only the will of man forget it. And in that forgetfulness, the fire is imprisoned. Yani binadamu peke yake ndio usahau hii rhythm. But it is in each and everything. There is a creation ambayo inaendelea. There is a rhythm. Sasa ule mtu uwanga nasahau hiyo peke yake ni binadamu. Na hapo ndio naambia, when you breathe in faith, when you act without grasping, when you let it go without fear, the circulation resumes. Kwa hivyo sisi wenyewe ndio uwanga tunajifungia. Sisi wenyewe ndio uwanga tuna create blood pressure. Sisi wenyewe ndio tuna hii mambo yote inatokana na sisi. Hakuna kitu ambaye inatokaga nje. Na sana sana the high blood pressure is transformed into high praise. The same energy freed of resistance. Unasikia, the same energy freed of resistance, it become praise. Singing through the utterance of heaven and man alike. So ni mambo mengi sana nimeweka ambaye saa hii siwezi kuyasoma yote kwa sababu ya masaa. Najaribu tu kuguzaguza ndio at least muone mambo zile sisi wenyewe tunajiletea. So tukimalizia, Paul anasema in 1 Corinthians 3:16, anasema, know ye not that you are the temple of God, and the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. So when thou understand this, thy body ceases to be battlefield and becomes a temple. The blood no longer wars against itself. The will no longer fights the word. The arteries and veins sing again the hymn of balance. And what of prayer? Prayer is the breathing of the cosmos through thee. Let thy prayer be slow and full. So prayer is the breathing of the cosmos or the universe through the breathing of the cosmos through the. Kwa hivyo wakati wewe una pray, it is the breathing of the cosmos through you. Manake wewe ndio umepatiwa breathe out. So how do you pray? O eternal breath, flow through me. Where I resist, soften me. When I am hardened, dissolve me. Because hiyo mambo yote ndio tuko naye. Because we resist. Where I am anxious, rest in me. Thou art the pulse of my peace. Sawa. So, in conclusion, in cosmic theology, high blood pressure symbolizes the soul's over-exertion. The fire of will without water of surrender. The cure lies not merely in medicine, but in returning the microcosmic heart to the universal harmony of divine inspiration. Healing unfolds when the soul learns again to breathe with God. So nikumaanisha, now we don't breathe with God. We breathe on our own. Tuna breathe our own breath, but we don't breathe with God. So healing unfolds when the soul learns again to breathe with God. So here to breathe means a lot of things. The will, to do the will of God. Let us pray always. Those are the things that we need to know. So when we come to the scriptures, our scripture inasema saa zingine, Psalm 37 itasema, cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fire not thyself in any wise to do evil. Those are the things ambaye kabisa bado sinafundisha mambo ya nini. There are scriptures nyingi sana. Mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Healing is the reunion of heaven and earth within the heart. Those are the things that we need to understand. Okay, let me stop there. There are many things. High blood pressure, when illumined by understanding, becomes a teacher of divine equilibrium, the reminder that all force must yield to love, all motion of rest, all doing to being. Kwa hivyo sio kitu inakuja tu, ni mambo, inafundisha mambo mengi sana. Pressure ambaye inakupata, usifikiri ati ni ugonjwa, ati inatoka kwa shetani, ati nini. Hapana, inaonekana kuna kitu ambaye haiendi vizuri in ourselves. Lakini the remedy is, Mungu anasema he is ever there ready to listen unto you. If you breathe again, he is going to breathe with you, na utapona na kila kitu itakuwa sawa. Si ati tufike pahali unakuta sisi ni kanisa la Mungu alafu tunakuta tunamalizwa na high blood pressure.